Hello and welcome to another command block tutorial. Today's video, I'm going to teach you how to make custom crafting recipes so you can make any crafting recipe in your world to make anything you want.
Thinking quickly, Dave constructs a homemade megaphone using only some string, a squirrel, and a megaphone.
The cool thing about this tutorial is that it only takes 3 command blocks, as you can see behind me, to set up the actual crafting table itself, and then 1 command block for every recipe you want to add. So the other cool things is that you can have named items as one of your products and one of your recipe things. You can also give enchanted items, you can have named items, you can have items with different durabilities, different data, that kind of stuff. All that's going to work both for ingredients and for the actual recipes themselves. So because it's simple, let's just get right into the commands. So the way that this is actually going to work is we're going to take a bat named Craft. As you can see here, I just named the actual spawn A. You could also just have an actual bat and then name tag it. Doesn't matter. You could also use a different mob. I'm just using bats because they're small and generally useless mobs to begin with. Is what's going to happen as soon as I place down the bat right here is that a dropper is going to spawn. One interesting thing you'll see is that the dropper is actually named crafting table. And the way I do that, I'll show you that when I'm actually placing these droppers, you simply rename these droppers into anvil. You don't necessarily need to do it, but it does need to be the same name for the item every single time. I'll explain that more in a second. But basically, because we have this crafting table, I can now input my custom recipes. So this is the first recipe I have. This is the second recipe I have. So I'm going to input the first one, which is a sea lantern surrounded by glowstone. Boom, I get a named star just to show, hey, you can give named items with your crafting recipe. Now I'm going to do that again because my other recipe calls for 2 stars. Now that I have 2 stars here, I can surround this with sea lanterns, and boom, I get a special enchanted sword. One heads up though, you won't be able to mass craft like you would in a normal crafting table unless you have separate recipes. So I won't be able to go like twice around and then put 2 here. That's not going to let me make 2 stars, unfortunately. It's the only real major downside to this system. Although I still think one of the coolest systems is that you can actually have an infinite amount of special crafting tables, because all you need to do is place the bat and all of these are going to function. And I just think that's really neat because it works really well if you're having like a survival type game mode and you want players to be able to craft their own tables. Alright, let's actually show you the commands. So the first 2 are just for the bat itself. The first one's going to be giving the bats instant health all the time, as long as it's not in a block of air. So basically, once it's in the dropper, it's going to be constantly getting instant health. That's just so it's not suffocating, it's not taking suffocation damage noise. That's all this is. So the next one is going to be pretty similar. This is just going to keep the bat in place. It's going to be constantly teleporting to itself. That way you're not going to have a bat flying around, infesting your world with upwards facing droppers. And the last thing that we're going to do is for any bat that is named Craft, unless there's already a dropper where the bat currently is, it's going to clone, and the coordinates it's cloning is this right here. So you're going to have 1 block that's going to represent an empty table. As you can see, it is named at the top, but the rest of it's empty. And the direction is kind of important in the sense that they all need to be facing the same direction, but if for some reason you want to have it facing that direction, that's fine. But I think up looks the nicest. Anyways, this is going to be your empty crafting table. As soon as your bat gets placed down, it's going to clone this block to right here. That's what this command does. And that's all it takes to actually make the crafting table. So now I'm going to show you guys how to make your own actual recipes. So, like I said, it's going to be 1 command block per recipe, which is not a lot. However, one thing to keep in mind is that I have all these on a 10 tick delay. If you don't have many commands, you can probably remove the tick delay. If you have some other commands in your world, you might want to add this tick delay. If you have a lot of commands in your world, I suggest you increase this to above 10 or some fairly high number. It's going to take a little bit longer to craft, but it's going to cause a lot less lag. Anyways, the actual command is just saying at anything that is named craft, so the bats that we have around the map, and it's going to say if the blocks, so we're going to have 2 sets of tildes right here and right here, if those coordinates, so that's where the bat is, are exactly the same as these coordinates, And these coordinates are this one right here. So this is going to be the recipe model. So you're going to have one example of the coordinates for the recipe right here. Then we have all, then we have run, and then we're doing a clone command. Then we have two sets of coordinates. That's one set of coordinates right there. I'm going to space it out a little bit more. This is the second set of coordinates. And then we have three of these tildes. Now you'll notice that the first and the second coordinate are exactly the same. That's important. The coordinates it's cloning is this one. This is the output table. So this is what you're going to get after you actually craft the thing. So this is the recipe. That's the first coordinate. And then the second one is the output. And the output's going to be, you're going to have that coordinates, two sets in a row. I know I'm kind of getting repetitive, but it's very important that you understand what coordinates you're using, because if you mess this up, none of this is going to work. And then, like I said, we just have three tildes at the end, so that way it's placing it where the bat already is. And that's it. So remember, you just put your recipe in here. It can be any amount of items. If you want to make it have more than one item, like I have this costs 2 stars right here, you can do that. You can have named items in the recipes. You can have named items in the outputs. Enchanted items in the recipes. Enchanted items in the output. There's all kinds of stuff you can do, and it's really simple. It's literally 3 commands for the table, and then 1 command per recipe. It's not a ton of lag, and you can just place these tables wherever you want. Like, they don't have to be special spawn areas, which I've seen other custom crafting recipes do before. It's just a really simple custom crafting recipe. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, go ahead, please join our Discord. But other than that, enjoy crafting.